Why reading is so important. Jamie, a keen but quiet chap from a bustling corner of England, often dreamt of effortlessly chatting with everyone around him. He yearned to join in the lively banter at the local pub or simply order a proper cuppa without feeling a surge of awkwardness. His mind was often buzzing with unspoken words, a symphony of thoughts trapped behind a wall of shyness. He'd watch people around him, mates from school, neighbors, even strangers on the bus, all chatting away, seemingly without a care in the world. Their words flowed like a calm river, whilst his felt like a dammed-up lake, hesitant and perpetually on the verge of breaking. It was quite frustrating, really. The thought of asking for directions, striking up a conversation with a shopkeeper, or even just responding to a casual, "All right, mate," filled him with an inexplicable dread. He knew the words in his head, but they simply wouldn't come out, or they'd tumble out in a jumbled mess. He often wondered, how do other people talk in English so fluently, so naturally? It seemed as if they had a secret code he hadn't yet cracked. He noticed different accents, the rapid-fire speech of Londoners, the melodic tones of the Welsh, and the distinct lilt of the Scots. This observation sometimes made him feel even more intimidated. Not only did he need to learn to speak, but he also had to navigate the vast array of British English accents and idioms. It felt like an insurmountable mountain, a proper uphill struggle indeed. Jamie longed to participate, to truly connect with people, but the fear of making a blunder or sounding silly held him firmly in its grasp. He wished someone would just hand him a step-by-step guide, a foolproof method to start talking in English, right here, right now. One rainy afternoon, whilst sheltering in a quaint little bookshop, an elderly lady, noticing his forlorn expression, gently suggested, "You know, young man, why reading is so important. It's the very foundation of good speaking, a quiet beginning." Her words struck a chord. He hadn't really considered reading as a direct path to speaking confidence. He thought it was just for academic purposes, or perhaps for pure enjoyment, not a tool for mastering conversations with real people. He decided to give it a whirl. Jamie started with simple novels, British authors mostly, to soak in the genuine rhythm and common phrases. He found himself picking up new vocabulary, not just isolated words, but entire expressions used in context. Gradually, he moved on to newspapers, reading articles about local news and current affairs. This exposed him to more formal language, but also conversational snippets that mirrored real-life discussions. He realized he was absorbing grammar rules without even trying. The beauty of reading, he discovered, was that it offered a safe, pressure-free environment. There was no one to judge his pace or correct his pronunciation. He could reread sentences until their meaning and structure clicked into place, building a strong internal library of English. He started noticing how characters in books expressed emotions, how they phrased questions, and how they responded to different situations. This was a direct window into how people truly talk in English, giving him invaluable insights into natural dialogue. Reading aloud became his new secret weapon. In the quiet of his room, he'd vocalize paragraphs, pretending he was a character in the story. This helped him physically articulate words, working on his pronunciation and the flow of sentences. Initially, it felt a bit daft, talking to himself, but he persevered. He realized that practicing how to talk in English, even without an audience, was crucial for building muscle memory in his tongue and lips, making the actual speaking feel less foreign. He also began to actively listen to how other people talk in English around him. On the train, in cafes, he became an avid observer, tuning into their intonation, their pauses, and the way they connected words. It was like a free, live language lesson. He'd pay attention to slang, to idioms that weren't in his textbooks, and to the subtle cues that conveyed meaning beyond the words themselves. This passive learning was surprisingly effective in complementing his active reading practice, making him more attuned. The first step, he was advised by a kindly online forum, was to start talking at home. "Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect person," one commenter wrote. "Just start with yourself." This advice resonated deeply with Jamie. So, he began narrating his daily activities aloud. "Right, I'm making a cuppa now. First, boil the kettle, then get the tea bag." It felt silly, but it was a crucial step in transforming his internal thoughts into spoken English. He even started having imaginary conversations with his beloved goldfish, Barnaby. He'd explain his day, discuss current events, and even debate hypothetical scenarios, all in English. Barnaby was a wonderfully patient listener, never interrupting or judging. This consistent daily practice, even in isolation, slowly but surely chipped away at his shyness. He was getting used to the sound of his own voice speaking English, which was a massive hurdle overcome. The awkwardness gradually receded. Next, he moved to the mirror. He'd look himself in the eye and practice introductions, common phrases, and even short presentations. This helped him with his facial expressions and body language, essential components of effective communication. Then came the courage to try speaking with people. His mum, bless her heart, was his first real-life conversation partner. He'd ask her about her day, slowly at first, then gaining momentum as she patiently listened and responded in kind. It felt liberating to finally use the words he'd been accumulating. There were stumbles, of course, a misplaced preposition here, a fumbled verb there, but his mum's encouraging smiles kept him going, reminding him to relax and keep trying. He realized that to truly learn how to talk in English, one had to embrace the imperfections. Mistakes were not failures, they were simply stepping stones on the path to fluency. Everyone makes them, even native speakers sometimes. His next venture was the local corner shop. The proprietor, Mr. Henderson, was a friendly chap. Jamie started with simple greetings. "Morning, Mr. Henderson. Lovely day, isn't it?" and slowly progressed to asking about particular items. Mr. Henderson, with his broad Yorkshire accent, was a bit challenging at first, but Jamie found himself understanding more and more with each interaction. It was a real-world test of his listening skills and his ability to adapt to different speech patterns. These small, controlled interactions gave him significant boosts in confidence. He wasn't aiming for grand philosophical debates, he was just trying to have a pleasant exchange, and that low pressure made all the difference, truly. He learned that to truly know how to talk to anyone in English, one needed to be an active listener as much as an active speaker. Listening carefully to the other person allowed him to formulate more relevant and engaging responses. He started attending a local community group focused on local history, something he was genuinely interested in. This provided a natural context for conversation, moving beyond transactional exchanges to more meaningful discussions with people. Initially, he just listened, absorbing the different perspectives and the way people articulated their thoughts. Then, emboldened by his reading and home practice, he tentatively offered a small comment, then a question. The group members were incredibly welcoming, and no one batted an eyelid at his slightly hesitant delivery. They were just pleased he was participating. This positive reinforcement was instrumental in building his speaking confidence rapidly. He realized that how to speak with people wasn't just about perfect grammar or a vast vocabulary. It was about connection, about sharing ideas and understanding each other. The human element was far more forgiving than he'd imagined. He discovered that asking open-ended questions was a fantastic way to keep conversations flowing. Instead of, "Did you enjoy the talk?" he'd ask, "What was your favorite part of the talk and why?" This invited longer, more engaging responses. The more he spoke, the more comfortable he became. He started noticing his pronunciation improving, his words flowing more smoothly, and his responses becoming more spontaneous. It was a proper transformation, a joy to behold. To make confidence in speaking, he understood, required a combination of deliberate practice and a shift in mindset. He stopped aiming for perfection and started aiming for progress, celebrating every small victory. He realized that confidence wasn't something you magically acquired, it was built, brick by brick, through consistent effort and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone, even if it was just for a tiny bit each day. Reading continued to be his anchor. It constantly fed him new phrases, expanded his understanding of complex ideas, and subtly refined his accent by exposing him to authentic British English dialogue and prose. He even joined a book club, where he could discuss literature with others, putting his speaking skills to the ultimate test in a stimulating intellectual environment. His initial trepidation quickly evaporated as he found his voice. The fear of being judged, which had once paralyzed him, now seemed distant. He understood that most people were too focused on their own thoughts to critically analyze his every word. They just wanted to communicate. Jamie's journey from a shy, hesitant speaker to someone who could engage in lively discussions was remarkable. He now loved striking up conversations, whether it was with a neighbor or a new acquaintance at a party. He often reflected on that chance encounter in the bookshop and the invaluable advice about why reading is so important. It truly had been the starting point for everything that followed, setting him on the right path. He found that understanding how other people talk in English wasn't just about listening, it was about empathy, about appreciating the richness and diversity of language and its speakers across the UK. Learning how to talk with anyone became a joyous discovery, a skill that opened doors to new friendships, exciting opportunities, and a deeper connection to the world around him, truly enriching his life. Starting to talk at home had demystified the act of speaking, turning it from a scary public performance into a natural extension of his thoughts, making it feel less like a chore and more like a conversation. The process of figuring out how to talk in English had taught him patience and perseverance. It wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon, with each step, no matter how small, contributing to the overall journey. He could now confidently approach strangers, knowing how to talk to anyone in English, whether it was asking for directions, complimenting an outfit, or simply making polite small talk about the weather, a British speciality. The art of learning how to speak with people became less about rigid rules and more about genuine human interaction, about finding common ground and building rapport through shared words and laughter. How to learn English, he concluded, was a multifaceted endeavor, a blend of solitary study, active listening, and brave leaps into real-world communication, all layered with a good dose of self-compassion. And finally, how to make confidence in speaking wasn't a mystical trick, but a tangible outcome of consistent effort, self-belief, and the gradual accumulation of positive experiences, proving it's entirely within reach for everyone. Jamie, once hesitant, now navigated conversations with a genuine ease, a testament to the power of persistent effort, reminding everyone that their voice truly matters, and it's always worth finding. His journey showcased that learning a language isn't just about grammar or vocabulary, it's about courage, connection, and the sheer joy of expressing oneself, fully and authentically, in the wonderful world of British English.